Imagine a single app on your phone that can bring you food, withdraw cash, run personal errands, pay your bills, and even lend you money. Now imagine that app was born in one of the most challenging regions in the world in terms of logistics, infrastructure, and access to banking, Latin America. That app exists and it's called Rappi. Today we're going to explore the story of a startup that began in Colombia, grew rapidly with the backing of major international investors, and transformed into a super app now operating in 9 countries. A fascinating case of how technology can be adapted to emerging economies and turn urban chaos into opportunity. Before we understand Rappi's success, we need to look at the environment where it was born. Latin America is a region with high urbanization rates, but also serious challenges: heavy traffic, informal employment, low access to banking, and little trust in digital services. In that context, 3 Colombian entrepreneurs, Simón Borrero, Felipe Villamarin, and Sebastián Mejía, decided to launch a delivery app in Bogotá in 2015. Their pitch was simple: deliver anything, anytime, in minutes. But unlike other traditional delivery apps like Uber Eats, Rappi didn't just focus on food. Their goal was to become a personal assistant for everyday life in Latin America. In its early years, Rappi already offered features that felt straight out of a sci-fi movie. With Rappi Favor, you could ask someone to run any errand for you. With Rappi Cash, you could request cash from your phone, and a courier would bring it right to your door. These features address real needs of the average user in cities where ATMs are scarce, traffic is unpredictable, and trust in institutions is low. And here's where the logic of complex networks kicks in. The more services a platform offers, the more indispensable it becomes. The more users it gains, the more attractive it gets to others. That's how Rappi went from being a helpful app to becoming a necessary one. To scale across the continent, Rappi needed more than good ideas. It needed investment. And that's where SoftBank came in, the Japanese fund known for making huge bets on tech companies like Uber, Alibaba, and ByteDance. In 2019, they invested over $1 billion in Rappi, in one of the largest funding rounds ever received by a Latin American startup. With that capital, Rappi expanded quickly into countries like Mexico, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and more. Today it's present in over 250 cities. Their strategy was aggressive: enter a city with irresistible promotions, offer free deliveries and massive discounts, capture users and merchants before the competition, build a strong base before thinking about profitability. They weren't trying to rent bikes, they were aiming to be at the center of urban life. As it grew, Rappi evolved. It no longer defined itself as a delivery app, but as a multi-service platform. Inspired by Asian models like WeChat in China or Grab in Southeast Asia, Rappi integrated grocery shopping, retail, digital payments, phone top-ups, insurance, and even online medical consultations. Rappi's vision is clear. Users shouldn't have to leave the app to take care of their daily needs. This is what defines the path toward a super app, a single digital platform that centralizes multiple services and builds user loyalty through convenience. And in regions where traditional infrastructure is limited, these super apps can offer an alternative path to urban development. For years, the urban delivery category in Latin America was dominated by global giants like Uber Eats. With their global presence, strong tech infrastructure, and a globally recognized brand, it seemed like no local startup could compete until Rappi showed up. But Rappi didn't try to win by doing the same thing Uber Eats was doing. It did something different. It became indispensable. While Uber Eats focused almost entirely on restaurant food delivery, Rappi expanded from day one. Groceries, pharmacies, express shopping, errands, cash delivery, digital payments, and more. That diversification of services, designed from the start to solve daily problems for Latin American users, allowed them to increase usage frequency and customer loyalty. They also bet on a more aggressive local strategy. The result was clear: Uber Eats pulled out of several key markets like Argentina, Colombia, and Uruguay. In countries where operations weren't profitable or growth wasn't as fast as Rappi's, they simply left. Meanwhile, Rappi kept expanding and adding new services. This doesn't mean Uber Eats is gone entirely. In big cities like São Paulo, Lima, or Mexico City, it still operates. But in many markets where Uber Eats couldn't scale or adapt fast enough, Rappi became the dominant option. The lesson is clear. In emerging markets, the winner isn't always the one with more money or a global brand, but the one that adapts best to local needs. One of Rappi's boldest moves was entering the financial world. With RappiPay, the app now offers digital wallets, prepaid cards in partnership with Visa, and peer-to-peer payments. In a region where nearly half of the adult population doesn't have a formal bank account, this is a massive transformation. Rappi doesn't just deliver products, it delivers access. Access to digital payments, credit, and basic services. And it does it with the speed and personalization that many traditional institutions lack. This move also diversified its revenue model, which now doesn't rely solely on delivery fees, but includes financial services, advertising, and digital commerce. But it hasn't all been a success story. Rappi has faced serious controversies, especially regarding its labor model. Delivery workers are not formal employees. They operate as independent contractors, which means they don't have fixed contracts, mandatory health insurance, or basic labor benefits. This model, common in platforms like Uber or Glovo, has been heavily criticized for creating precarious work conditions. In countries like Colombia, Mexico, and Argentina, there have been protests and complaints from workers reporting low pay per delivery, poor conditions, and lack of protection in case of accidents. There have also been isolated scandals. Some users reported automatic charges or fake deliveries. There's also been concern over how the app manages personal data, given how much information it collects from users. The company has responded with some improvements: accident insurance, instant earnings payouts, and more efficient support channels. But the bigger question remains: is this model sustainable in the long term? Can a super app grow without harming the very people who make it run? What's most impressive about Rappi isn't just the tech, it's their ability to adapt. Each city where they operate has a local team that adjusts services to fit that community's culture, habits, and limitations. The app changes depending on whether you're in Lima, Buenos Aires, or Medellin. And the model is modular. They test a new feature in one city, and if it works, they scale it. If not, they remove it. This urban lab approach allows them to innovate faster than more rigid competitors. It's a very different logic from Silicon Valley. Here, the focus isn't on product perfection. It's on speed of execution and staying close to the real user. Rappi's story is much more than a business success. It's proof that when technology deeply understands people and their environment, it can transform cities, solve structural problems, and unlock economic opportunities where there once were only barriers. From its beginnings as a delivery app to its ambition to become Latin America's go-to super app, Rappi has shown that the key isn't copying models from the global north, but creating solutions with local DNA, executed with global vision. And that's exactly the kind of story we love to explore on this channel. If you're interested in the stories behind the world's most innovative startups, the real-life impact of technology, and the ideas that are redefining how we work, shop, and connect, subscribe to Economy Factor. We bring you real cases of disruptive businesses, clear explanations of entrepreneurial theories, and lessons you can apply to your own projects. It helps us a lot if you share this video, leave a like, and tell us what you think in the comments.